Welcome to this lesson on the law of cosines. The law of cosines is a way to find missing sides and angles in an oblique triangle, so not a right triangle. And there's 3 different ways to write the law of cosines. This is probably the most common way to see it. So c squared, that would mean the side c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b times the cosine of c. But the other ways to write it are just rewriting the formula in a different way, but they all can solve for the same thing. So when to use the law of cosines? You can use it when you have a side angle side and you want to find either the third angle or the other 2 angles or the third side, or when you're given 3 sides and you want to find the angles. All right, so let's go ahead and try some examples. So in the first example, we're given side angle side and we want to find the third side. So I'm going to label the triangle. I'm going to label the angle that I'm given C, and the missing side across from it C, and I'm going to label this A and this B, little a, little b, just so we can apply it using the formula. So because I want to find that little c, side C, I'm going to use this formula because that's the way it's normally written, with the c squared out front. So I'm just going to write it down here again just so we have it. And then I'm just going to substitute those values into my formula. So c, you can leave it as c if you want, or you can change it to x. They're both variables. A is 5, so 5 squared. B is 7, so 7 squared. Minus 2 times A times B times the cosine of angle C, which is 58 degrees. All right, so I'm going to bring my x squared down. I'm going to go ahead and add 5 squared plus 7 squared, which is 74. And then I'm going to multiply negative 2 times 5 times 7 times the cosine of 58. And then subtract those. And then I'm going to take the square root. And I'm just leaving all these in my calculator. Don't round to the very end if you can. I'm just rounding off so I don't have to write out those numbers. So my x is about 6.1, which means this side length here is 6.1. All right. Let's try that again. So again, I'm going to label my sides. I'm going to use the given angle as C. All right, so c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. We don't know c squared in this case, so I'm just going to leave it as c. So we're not actually going to solve for the missing angle first. We're going to solve for that missing side first and then solve for the angle. So this one's going to have 2 steps. All right. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and type this whole thing in my calculator. Just be very careful. You can do it in steps if you would like. And then take the square root of both sides. So about 6.4 is C. And then I can use that to find angle A. If I'm going to find angle A, I need to use a formula that has angle A. So let me scroll back up here. So I need a capital A in my formula. So I'm going to use this one here. All right, so I'm going to rewrite that. I'm going to use a different color here. So we actually know A, it's 7 squared. We know B is 9 squared. We now know C is 6.4 squared. That's why we needed to go ahead and solve for that. We just don't know angle A. Come over here so I have more room. All right, so 7 squared is 49. 9 squared plus 6.4 squared is 121.96. 2 times 9 times 6.4 is 115.2. And then I'm just going to bring down the cosine of A because I don't know A yet. All right, so I'm trying to isolate A, so I need to move some things to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 121.96 from both sides. And I get negative 72.96. That's 0. Then I'm going to divide by negative 115.2 on both sides. And that's 0.63 repeating. Then I'm going to take the inverse cosine of that to get angle A. And I get about 50.70 degrees for angle A. Oops. All right, let's try some more examples. All right, so example number 3. Again, this is side, side, side. I'm going to label my sides. So I'm going to use that as C. I just always like to put C on the angle, the given angle, or the unknown angle. You don't have to do it that way. It's going to give you the same answer regardless. All right, so I'm trying to find angle C here. So I'm going to use the formula with angle C, which is going to be this one. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of C. So I know C squared is 18 squared. A is 12, B is 20. All right, and then I'm just going to multiply out here. 12 squared plus 20 squared is 554. 2 times 12 times 20 is 480. All right, and then I'm going to solve. Subtract 554 from both sides. Sorry, 544. That's 0. And then divide by negative 480. 0.458 equals a cosine of C. And then I'm going to use the inverse to solve for C. And that is about 62.7 degrees. All right, pause the video now and try number 4 by yourself. It's very similar to number 3. Okay, so let's see how you did. Again, you may have labeled them differently than me. That's okay. All All right, so I'm just going to work this out here, and you check the work on your paper. I got about 37 degrees. And you can round to the whole number, the tenths place, whatever your teacher wants. All right, next one. This is side angle side. All right, so x squared equals 19 squared plus 11 squared. Cosine of 72. So this again, if you want to type all of that in your calculator, since we already have the variable isolated, we just need to take the square root at the end. Just be very careful when you're typing it in. Make sure you put your parentheses in the right spots. And then take the square root of both sides. You get about 18.8. All right, the last one says to find all missing sides and angles. So because I'm given angle B, I'm going to solve for side B first. So I'm going to use the B squared equals A squared plus C squared. I'm going to type all of that in, and I get about 120.83. So about 11 for side B. And then next I'm just going to pick either angle A or angle C to solve for. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do A, which means I need to start with side A. So A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. All right, so 12 squared plus 11 squared is 265. 2 times 11 times 12 is 264. And then I'm just going to solve. Divide by negative 264 on both sides. And you get 0.76. So angle A is about 40.4 degrees. And the only thing left, we have all sides. We just need to find that third angle, which is easy. We have the other two, so just subtract from 180. 76.6 degrees. All right, you can go ahead and stop the video now and complete your Law of Cosines practice.